This is Novel Spirits.
One. We'll just give it a minute.
Try to like talk a little bit and see if
Ma. Voice exercise. Test. 1, 2, 3. Test. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you sound fine. Hold on, I'm getting this
Alright.
99 this uploading thing. Let's see if or is that constant? It might be constant.
I think it's constant. It's Riverside. So once again,
all right, whatever.
Here we go. Ma. Voice exercise. Test 1, 2, 3. All right, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Novel Spirits, where it can be read, it can be reviewed, and it can be done so with fancy spirit at hand. And I just realized I said welcome back, but this is previously podcast as the Comixology Club, and also previously known as the Comics, Comrades, and Cocktails. I am your host today, Michael Lopez, and with me I have a new face,
Jacob Cortez.
Welcome, Jacob. And today, today we're going to talk about a book, as we always do. There are a few things different from the famed Comixology Club, so I hope that for those of you guys listening who previously were subscribed and get this notification saying it's new episode, that we don't disappoint you. But we wanted to introduce what is Novel Spirits. And Novel Spirits is basically a continuation of our journey to read and review and drink with friends and talk about comics. But not just comics, anything and everything can be read. So novels, comics, visual novels, and as I said in some of my YouTube videos, if we want to do an episode on a manuscript or a manual for a washing machine, we probably will, as long as we have fancy spirit at hand. And yeah, say what?
I was saying you're really on that manuscript thing there.
Yeah, no, it's what I do for a living. So it's there, manuscript. That should be my voice exercise next time. Yeah, Jacob, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be a part of this. I mean, I've been reading comics for a while. I've been really into the new stuff that DC's putting out, like the Absolute comics. And I also read a lot of manga and stuff. So I'm a big horror fan, and hopefully we can cover a lot of those things in this. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's a good start. We're happy to have you. And I'm saying this like you're not part of it. You are part of it. But for those of you who loved the soothing sounds and voices of our previous hosts, Snoop and Higgins, don't worry, they're still floating around, and you may see them in the coming months. But yeah, Jacob and I are going to be holding down the fort and getting drunk as we talk about our monthly reads. But before we do, let's talk shop a little bit. Jacob, let's introduce you fully. Tell us a little bit about you as a person and where you come from and how you got here.
Sure. So I'm a junior developer by trade, and I've been trying real hard to get into game development and things down that path. I'm a big tech guy, but yeah, I mean, I've been, like I said, I always been a big superhero fan. So when Michael talked about having a comic podcast and then having an opportunity to join in, it sounds super fun. And also getting to talk about stuff that's not just superheroes. There's a ton of really interesting, books out there. I mean, I like action, and so anything that I bring is going to have some form of action in it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's super exciting to be part of it.
Awesome. All right, and then for those of you that don't know, my name is Michael, and I want to say that this podcast is continuously being sponsored by 008 Studios, but let's be honest, it's pretty much is 008 Studios at this point.
Does it count as being sponsored?
I don't think so. I think we're going to be seeking new sponsors from here on out. But yeah, so we do internal book comics and games. So anything that can be written or developed is in-house, and we sponsor others so that they can do the same. We have quite a few novels already out, and we actually already have a comic out. So if you're looking for something to read as you listen or after you listen, please do check us out. If you haven't subscribed already to the YouTube channel, please do. Um, but yeah, some stuff about the studio before we actually jump into it. We have an anthology project coming up about dragons, and we will be partnering with a local charity. So you will be hearing a little bit about that in the coming episodes of the show, the progress updates and all that stuff of where we're going, who we're donating to, what we're trying to accomplish, and as we have our annual packages. The annual packages for 2023 and 2024. 2025 is obviously in progress now. Um, but show your support, show your love. Check out some of the collaborating others. Check out their stuff. It's all on 008studios.com. And yeah, so this month, what we have for you is a visual novel. And Jacob, I'll actually let you introduce this because. So tell us what we're reading this month.
Sure. So I chose Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting title, but uh, I think it's pretty good. It is written by James Tynion, the fourth. He's written for DC. Has some pretty big stuff out there. And the art was by Werther Delle'edra. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, that's
we've never been good with names, so go ahead.
yeah. Anyways, the art's great. I love the art. I think it really fits the style of being sort of in the horror genre. It's all about monsters that are killing children, and people trying to stop that from happening. So it really opens up into being mysterious in the beginning, and you don't really know what's going on. It has some like supernatural, like the TV show Supernatural has a lot of kind of that vibe where they're hunting monsters and stuff like that. So I think it's a really good starting thing. It's interesting. It has a good hook in the beginning because who's not interested in finding out why children are being killed.
Okay. I see. I have the physical copy in front of me of you, who actually let me borrow the copy because I was too lazy to buy it. But I see here it says it has a shiny little ribbon here, the Bill Eisner nominee, 2020 Best New Series. So,
Yeah.
not only did we get a banger of a story, but I mean, a lot of people seem to like this. Um, I think that you mentioned somewhere earlier when we were talking they actually had won 3 of the Eisner Awards. So
Yes.
it's a pretty big ticket item.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it has multiple awards, both art and story.
Wow.
So it's not like a big DC or Marvel comic, but I think it's still very well known and well accredited. Or is that the word? Has a lot of credits. I don't know, credit hours.
That
I
you're
don't know.
thinking about school now. No, a lot of accolades, a lot of credits. I'll take it. Yeah. Um, okay, but yeah, it was definitely an interesting read. But there's another aspect of the show, and I think that you're kind of hinting at it with your ice cubes there. But what are we drinking as we uh, review this?
Yeah. So I'm sipping on some moonshine, Function or Junction 35 cold brew moonshine, and I chose this because in the book she drinks coffee, so relates very well to the story in my opinion. What about you?
Nice. It well, I have a very similar look there. I was trying to find a Scotch that's it's called Ardbeg, and the 5th year anniversary is called the Wee Beastie. I figured that'd be appropriate for something like this. I wasn't able to find it, and my second runner up is Bullet Bourbon because there is a chapter in here where somebody actually has the right idea and brings a gun to the monster fight. And I know that if I were in this situation, I would definitely want a bullet on my side, whether it be multiple or one. Either way, I'm getting out of it. But I had to be very careful because the last time that bullet bourbon was introduced on the podcast, we had to do a re-record. So the difference here is that we're going to try and do the review with the number of glasses that we get through while we're reviewing this. And bullet bourbon is dangerously good. So
Yeah, I mean, if it says anything, I like the story, and I'm almost done with Glass One, and we just started, so I think it's gonna
nice.
get a good rating.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one because I'm about to go on glass two right now.
I don't know if that
But
makes me
okay.
an alcoholic or if it makes me like the story, but
Well, if this was the Comixology Club, you'd be a comixologist, I think is what we called it. But no, now we got to come up with something new for Novel Spirits. But we have the fancy spirit at hand. We have the book. Let's dive right into it. Jacob, take us away. Lead us to glory here. What's Where should we start?
sure. Well, like any good book, you start at the beginning, and the story picks up uh, with our sort of he's almost a main character, or he really is a main character. It's a kid named James, and he is being basically interrogated for the murders of his friends. So he was having a sleepover with some friends, and all we know at this stage is that they're sleeping over, and somehow all of his friends ended up getting killed, and he was the only survivor. Um, and it kind of rolls into the people of the town don't like him, and they don't trust him. The other kids think that he is the one that did it, and so it's excuse me.
Don't worry, we'll edit
So
that
it's
out.
okay.
Not really, but go ahead.
Yeah, edit this out too. Yeah, it's anyways, it rolls into, he's having problems at school because of this. Obviously he's dealing with some trauma, and then our main character, who goes by Erica, we don't know this yet, but she shows up to the town, Archer's Peak. It's a small town. There's not a lot going on, and that's why this is a big deal, because I mean, obviously children being killed is always a big deal, but this is not a town where you expect that to happen, where you expect, hundreds of kids to go missing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so
She's
uh,
basically our resident badass for those who are wondering. And I really
yeah,
like the way that they introduced her because to me it was pretty damn funny. Um, the title says something is killing the children, and there's not really much to go off of. And then it introduces her of her walking out of the woods covered in blood with a knife in front of a kid, and like visually you're just like, oh crap, like we're already in
yeah.
it. But then it's like, hey kid, can I use your shower? But yeah, Erica, um,
Yeah, that's
resident
kind of
badass.
lost on me, uh, because it's been so long since I read it in the beginning. I knew she wasn't the bad guy, but yeah, it does look bad when that's your first intro. But she
Yeah,
really reminds me of like a Sasuke character, where she is kind of edgy,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
she's you really only see the one eye. It's kind of gives those vibes. But anyways, moving on. That's kind of the end of issue one. It ends with basically Erica and James meeting, and she tells him that monsters are real, pretty much, and he asks if he can join her on the hunt for the monster that killed his friends.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I mean,
uh,
it caught me pretty quickly with issue one.
yeah, I kind of like the way that they did this because one, the introduction of the characters was one A plus, well done. But it really set and immediately like I think some of the references that we said, supernatural being one of them. But I got some, and this is a bit of a stretch, so bear with me. I got some Stranger Things vibes, except if instead of
Yeah,
like, having paranormal powers, it was just straight up butchering, you know, like
yeah,
uh, basically, what if Sasuke was in Stranger Things?
yeah. Really, or
Yeah,
like a Chainsaw Man type of character. I don't know why I'm thinking of Chainsaw Man just because of the gore. But yeah,
yeah,
it's strange. Like it's centered around kids and it's extremely gory. So be aware. Like it doesn't shy away. A lot of things will cut away when there's gore of kids, but
mm,
not here. So
yeah,
yeah, you see the kids getting attacked by the monster. You get your first look at the monster, and they start dropping the hints like there's something else going on here, because adults can't see monsters. So that's
yeah,
kind of the whole premise. Is like it's rare for an adult like our main character Erica to be able to see the monster, and so she's kind of
yeah,
like that's kind of like a supernatural thing. Not everybody knows what's going on.
yeah. And I like that too because it kind of plays on Jesus. What is that show called? Um, Oh, I guess it's not really a show. I guess the other reference I can say is Monsters Inc., where like all the kids obviously know that the monsters are real, but it's a secret to all the parents. But I don't know. It kind of plays some like younger kind of fears, like like hey mom, there's something under my bed type deal. Like the
Yeah,
parents
yeah, and
use logic and don't really see anything, and the kids are just like, no, I swear it's there. So
yeah, yeah, and they talk about that a lot. It's like, you know, you see the monsters as a kid, but as you grow up, it's like you convince yourself they're not real because you don't believe in them anymore. But as a kid, even though you might be at the age where you know they're not real, you still believe that they're real. So
yeah.
uh, and I don't know. I mean, I think I would be able to see them because I still believe in monsters. When we went camping, those noises we heard in the woods, man, I was thinking of some some creepy
let's
stuff.
let's talk about that. And this is a nice little segue. You believe in monsters, but you don't believe in ghosts. What is that?
Well, okay. I mean, I don't believe in ghosts. Yeah. So, and actually, this is interesting because I was doing a podcast for a while called Global and Skeptic, where um, I would like not believe in anything really. A lot of it was like ghost stories, and the other person would they believed in them. So it's yeah, I don't really believe in ghosts or demons. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of iffy there, but um, I really like the idea of cryptids. So I'm more inclined to believe them. And I also, when you're in the woods and it's dark, it's kind of like you pretty much believe every noise you hear is a cryptid, like a skinwalker trying to get you.
Yeah. Let's be clear that skinwalkers are real. Just so everybody knows. Um, yeah, no, just very interesting note because I knew that little tidbit about there, and it's a nice little plug for your other podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so parents can't see the monsters, kids can. Erica is a total badass who's determined to kill everything. Um, and I think one of my favorite shops is coming up in the following issue, where it's kind of like the white people version of Home Depot, House Depot. I just
House
absolutely,
Depot.
yeah, I just kind of loved that reference right there. um, yeah, but throughout the chapters, basically all that's going on is Erica is just plotting with James on how to do this, and they ultimately decide that they're going to need a shit ton of weapons, and House Depot is basically everything that you could hope for in a monster hunting situation. And I don't want to give anybody any ideas, but the stuff that they pick out, you know, could theoretically be used as monster hunting equipment. But anyway, um, when the apocalypse happens, House Depot first stop.
Yeah, House Depot.
Yeah.
Well, you got to stop at I forget what they call it here, the Apple Bomb or something like that instead of Applebee's. So they stop at the Apple Bomb. Let me see what it's called. Hold on. Apple Beams. Yeah.
Jesus.
Welcome to Apple Beams. So yeah, we're missing an important character here, Tommy. Tommy's introduced in issue 2. His younger sister was she's disappeared. They don't know she's dead yet, but yeah, she's disappeared, and he's looking for her. And he's a manager at Applebeams. So they come to this Applebeams. They say, "Hey, we know nobody ever comes here. Can we basically rent a table for a couple of nights, and we'll be out of here before anybody who actually cares shows up?" Um, and then Tommy says yes, and then he says no. They have a fight, and it's all interesting. And then basically he gets really angry, and he thinks that this new girl, Erica, who just rolled into town, um, is the root of what's going on, even though she just got here.
Hmm.
But she's hanging out with this kid who everybody thinks killed all his friends, and she's a suspicious character, and she's kind of a badass. So immediately, you think he thinks that she's the one that's doing all this. Um, and in this chapter, you get to see that there's a little bit more going on to the story. That she's not like acting on her own. She is carrying a stuffed octopus who um, is somehow like a monster as well. It has like a monster ghost shape that comes out
Okay.
of it, and it talks and it's stuffed. Um, yeah, that's kind of where issue two ends. It's important because you start to see that there's a group of people who are responsible for killing these monsters. It's not just she's acting on her own.
Yeah. I do want to point out something very important for the listeners. Tommy is an adult, and chapter two is really the very first time where we actually get to see the monster. And I am a tremendous fan of, I guess, the art for this scene, where basically Tommy's just kind of walking out of his house, and the monster is literally standing right in front of his car, and he just doesn't see it.
Is
Um,
anybody there?
yeah, that's all that's said. And Jacob, I don't know if you can answer this, but do we ever get to the point where we know why monsters are only killing kids?
No, I haven't. Well, I haven't got that far.
Yeah.
Um, so possibly.
So all the more reason to keep reading, because so far nothing but things. Um, and yeah, Tommy is a bit of a dick. But as I said before, when I was introduced to Drake, he was the only smart one when he went into the woods.
Yeah.
Um, bringing the gun to the monster fight. Um, yeah, and I don't know. I think when you start going into chapters 2 and 3 is really when art really starts to pop, and you actually start seeing, not just the monsters, but Erica and her expressions and her history, and really all the majority of the gore, if you will, before you actually get to the end here. But yeah, it's really interesting seeing where from and really where they end up. But
Yeah. Yeah, there's a really interesting scene. I think it's in issue three where basically Erica gets pulled into an interrogation room by the cops, and
mhm.
she pulls the whole like badass. You're gonna get a call in a few minutes, and then you're gonna let me go. That you see a lot, and
Yeah.
he actually ends up letting her go before the call happens, which is not
Hmm.
not common. So, um, yeah, he the sheriff ends up saying, okay, well, if you know what's going on and you're gonna stop it, then we can work together. And he lets her go.
Hmm.
So, he's trying to piece things together, and she tells him like, you're gonna get this call, and all of a sudden, in a couple of days, this is gonna stop happening, and you're gonna spend the rest of your life, and it's gonna drive you a little bit crazy, wondering what was going on, and you'll never know. And so it's
Yeah.
like it's a cool mysterious element like of what happened to us. you know all of a sudden it would stop and we would never know what actually happened.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I think this is where they do the gear up scene. They go to the House Depot or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and she asked for the crappiest model of chainsaw that they have. And you also get a scene of Tommy going to his dad's house and asking for a gun, or not asking, actually, he takes it.
Yeah.
So
Um, and I don't want to give anybody any ideas here. We know we're about chainsaw violence, but um, it's not particularly said. But getting a feel for Erica's character, one of the reasons I'm assuming she's asking for the chainsaw is because of the result. You start if you're a lumber sexual out there, you'll understand. But basically, the better the chainsaw, the cleaner to cut. The shittier the chainsaw, the more gore. I mean, the more wood chips. So I feel like Erica really shows her colors here. Is like she's been doing this for a while and she enjoys it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you get the vibe like something else, something's going on in her past where this is all she cares about, you know.
yeah,
So, and yeah, I think it's a really funny scene with the where she's asking for I forget what she says, but she asked for the crappy models, and he's like, "Do you got a lot of renovations coming up or something?" And I don't know, it was a funny scene.
yeah,
But you also get a peek behind the curtain a little bit. Erica throughout the whole story is calling. She's constantly on the phone with somebody, calling, and you don't really get to see much about it. And then you get to see their end in this issue, and you get to see a guy with a dragon cane. He's leaning on the cane. He's got this cool dragon tattoo with three spikes through the dragon,
hmm
and it's really setting up this world that's. I mean, I keep going back to supernatural, but it has like I think it's like the Men of Letters or whatever later in the series where they've built onto the world, and there's people that have been doing this for a really long time, and they have like a society of people doing it, and you can tell she's like she doesn't fit in with that group. They're all
yeah,
dressed really nice, they have suits on and stuff, and she doesn't. She's like a mess. She's got wearing a jacket that's too big for her and all cut up, and she keeps telling him like just to leave her alone and all this stuff. So she really doesn't fit in with that group, and she's doing her own thing. And you get to see for the first time they wear these really cool masks, like these teeth masks. Uh,
hmm
Really adds to the edgy vibe.
yeah. Um, One of the things that I kind of enjoyed here, and I think you just mentioned it, it's like you keep saying supernatural, but my only reference is John Wick here. Erica's the person that they call to kill the monsters. Let's be serious. Like all these
Yeah,
suits, they don't do shit. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. She
um,
makes that point too. She's like, they're not going to get rid of me. My
yeah,
ways are dirty, but they need me.
yeah,
They don't like to get their hands dirty.
yeah. But the other side that you get to see later on is that she is a softie. Later on when she actually tries to execute the plan. The entire time she's been with James, and James has kind of been like running assistant. And at the very end, she tries to pull off those cool points again. Says, "Yeah, you can't come in. You're gonna die if you do." Basically, so I got to do
Yep.
this on my own, and you know, just kind of pulls out that vigilante kind of vibe at the very end, where it's like, "Yeah, I know I promised you, kid, but no."
Yeah.
So she still has a heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because it's like, why bring the kid along if you're not gonna let them in? But
Yeah, yeah,
I, I, there's, you get more into it later on, but she's almost using the kid as bait. It's like how they, it's how like they're taught how to hunt these monsters, and there's actually monsters who you can't attack them or you can't hurt them unless they've recently eaten. So
yeah,
it's like, you have to you get more into that later, but it's like, is she really a good guy, or you know but I think that's why she's on the outside of the society, because she doesn't agree with those
yeah.
tactics.
and that's why I kind of said vigilante, because she's not really our hero. She's kind of just like she does whatever needs to be done to get the job done, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Morals be damned, but um, I don't
She's
know.
our Deadpool.
She's what?
She's our Deadpool.
Yeah, she's our Deadpool of the monster world, basically. Except she can't regenerate, and she doesn't have really cool katanas, but she has really cool knives and a chainsaw at this point.
Yeah,
Um, and earlier we said, adults can't see monsters or whatnot. Um, they have this really cool scene that I'm particularly a fan of before you actually get to the end issue of the volume, where Tommy catches up to her and sees her standing over some dead bodies, and like it's like, oh, you killed him or whatever. But when she turns around and raises her knives against Tommy, it's because the monster's standing right behind him. So you get this from one side. You have an adult who is kind of like, mentally he's kind of on the edge anyway, but like he logically sees you A plus B equals C, and then you have Erica who is privy to the under the table basically, and it's kind of like this battle of POVs basically.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It is interesting, and then you get a really cool scene of Erica kicking Tommy's ass and the monster's ass at the same time, which leads into James for some reason going into the cave and getting shot by
hey,
Tommy.
there's
Uh,
my oh,
so for some reason, the octopus that she carries around, that's like this monster or whatever, tells Tommy that she needs his help. So he goes into the cave and immediately, or not Tommy, sorry, James. She tells James that he needs to go into the cave, and immediately James gets shot in the stomach by Tommy.
yeah,
So it's like, it starts to wonder, and I'm thinking like, is this octopus a good guy, or um, you know, it says that she needs help, but is it just trying to get the kid hurt? I don't know. But they find a kid in this cave who's been in there for a long time. She's a little girl named Bian, and
mhm,
so you also get the idea like these things. It's not just for sport; they're also feeding, they're eating, because they've kept her alive as food later on. So but yeah, and then like you said, you see where adults can't see, and then you find out how they can see because Erica stabs Tommy in the head with some sort of crystal, and then he can magically see the monster.
yeah,
So it's I mean it's a cool scene, and I you see he gets like this link to whatever group is running things. Um, his eyes glowing, their eyes are glowing, and they can tell that he's joined or that he has been awakened or whatever is the case.
yeah,
And he's like, Tommy's like, oh shit, you weren't lying to me. There is a giant monster here because he can see it now.
yeah.
So
Because
they,
before it was like Erica was fighting air, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then he fires a gun. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, no, that I don't know. I thought you're talking about how cool it is. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's chapter 5. Like I said, chapter 2 and 3 are kind of like, or issue 2 and 3 are kind of like when you seen the beginning of those colors popping. But chapter
yeah,
5, man, that's where the grand finale's at. That's where everything comes to place. Not just the writing, but the art. The characters come full arc basically. Tommy is basically, he goes from being a shithead to potentially, one of our next vigilantes. Um,
yeah,
Freaking James is, well, James went from being a healthy boy to a bleeding out boy, so I guess that's considered character art. And then Erica is just like, pissed. She's killed the monster, and she just goes back to her phone. Next mission. Um,
yeah,
yeah. Um, I don't know. Overall, I thought this was a great I don't want to say fine because you already had it, but this is a great one to put up to the table. Um, like I said, it kind of brings a lot of our current kind of shows together. So, like, if you like Supernatural, if you like Stranger Things, if you like, I guess, the organization aspect of John Wick and some of the other shows that we've been mentioning, this is the book for you. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it is a very good, quick read. 5 issues, 1 volume. Um, I don't know. It was good. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Okay, well, now let me ask you some questions.
Okay, go ahead.
So
And bear with me because I'm terrible with names. Everybody knows this already.
that's fine. It's not a quiz.
Okay,
It's your
okay.
opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, um, you know, what do you think of the monster designs in this?
So I've mentioned this before. It plays on our fears, and I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. But one of my, I guess, biggest fears is actually Jesus. What's that? The fucking one with the pincers and all the legs. A millipede, centipede. Which
Centipede,
one's the one?
millipede?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which one's the one that has the pincers? That one. That motherfucker. I hate that
The
motherfucker.
scary one.
And this monster is like a combination of a giant spider and a fucking millipede, and I hate it. I mean, as a monster, I hate it, but the presentation, divine. Um, it does have a what you call it. It's like a blend of black and red, so you don't really see the details of the monster, but you don't really need to. It's a fucking terrifying dark figure. It's bloody
Yeah.
all the time, and half the time in the battle in issue 5, you couldn't really tell whose blood was who. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely loved it. And one of the things that I liked about the final fight, and again, it's not written, I'm assuming it's implied. The reason why
Hold on. Hey, Michael, I can't hear you. Hey, actually, edit this one out this time.
on hello, hello, testing 1 2 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know where I cut out, folks. So sorry for the technical issues. If it's cut out, it's cut out. But hey, whatever. But yeah, what was the last thing you heard?
Oh man, you were talking about the design of the monster. I don't remember the
Okay.
exact words. I'm gonna be honest, but
Well, I guess
the
where I was headed was it's not implied, but one of the things that I liked that I kind of discovered at the very end in the last fight with the monster is the reason why they wear the fang mask is because this organization created their own monster, and it's monster versus monster. So, how do I like the monsters? I love the monster that they killed, and I definitely love Erica because she is a monster, basically. So,
yeah, like that parallel you drew.
yeah, yeah, that's that writing
Yeah,
mindset.
that's nice. See, I was gonna say that I don't love the design of this first monster. I think it's kind of a bit lackluster. I do like the red and blacks. It's purely red and black. It really um, it stands out against Erica. She has these bright green eyes that really pop, and all the colors look great. But I think the overall design is a bit. It's just not. It's not as intimidating. They're really hyping this monster up. They're like, oh, we thought this was a shitty monster, but actually it's a hyper monster. And then you get there, and she like beats its ass in like a second. And the kid just gets shot by another guy. Like this monster doesn't do anything, but um, other than that, I think the story, the everything they're setting up is interesting. You know, so
So you're saying for you, this comic ended up being like most of the modern day TV shows, where the show is great, but the finale is shit.
yeah, basically.
Well, I don't
Basically.
know. Like I said, I think it played on my fears quite a lot. So I think that um, I don't know. I have to disagree with you on that one, but maybe some as you read, and I'm talking to to you listeners. Man, this bullet really killing me right now.
Yeah, this cold
But
is hitting.
yeah, but to to you listeners, as you guys read, maybe you guys can leave comments on what your thoughts are, because I thought it was good. Jacob, you thought it was lackluster. I don't know. Maybe it's just depending on what you actually feel when you see the actual monster. Because, like I said, it's one of my phobias, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna mention Supernatural, but Supernatural has this great episode of the first season where they're hunting a Wendigo,
Hmm.
and the monster itself isn't scary. Everything else they build up, it's great. The monster itself isn't that scary. I feel like this hits the same level where it's like um, everything surrounding it, all the lore that they're building, interesting, but the actual monster design itself just isn't like really there. But it doesn't matter because everything else is like, you know, super cool. And I really like the character that what they're building with Tommy. Hopefully he, I haven't read that far ahead, so hopefully he becomes the main character. Um, and I think it's kind of a little bit funny that James gets shot immediately, but other than that, yeah, I like the first volume, and I want to continue reading through, giving reviews on each volume.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're definitely going to come back. We have to come back to it, because one of the things that we're trying to do is kind of shorten the gap between um, really volumes. We want to try finishing series a lot more frequently than we did at the club. Not saying that those episodes were lackluster, to use your word, but uh, no. We want to get to the end of the stories. So yeah, we can definitely come back to it and see where James and Tom end up, and actually see if Erica has um, any sort of dip or increase in whatever character development she's supposed to have. But overall, man, I applaud you for bringing this one to the table. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, we should applaud some random worker at a random comic shop I went to a couple of years ago for putting me on this, because yeah, it's a good one, and I other than that person, I haven't heard it anywhere. So um, I mean, I'm not super like big in the comic scene, but I think that it's a little bit less known of, and bring a little more attention to it would be cool.
all right, yeah. Well, I guess that brings us to the closing. How many did you get through? What would you rate this time? You go ahead first.
Okay. I feel like we have a flaw in our system because I got through like 2.5, but I don't think it's a 2.5 out of 5. I'll give it 2.5 out of 3 moonshines. That's my rating.
Okay, so definitely in a higher percentile there, but it's okay, because I think between your drinks and my drinks, we kind of average out where we want it to be. I just filled up my sixth glass of bullet, which is absolutely terrible for me. But I will say
Am I
that
a lightweight or?
I don't know, man. But to be fair, I have these really fancy like Star Wars glasses, and I'm not filling them up all the way. So um,
Gotcha.
but I mean, Bullet's fucking dangerous, dude. It's so great. Anyway, so because I got to the six, and I'm not gonna finish this even after our recording here, but I will say I'll get this a 4.5 out of 5. Um, drinks, because while I like the story and I like the art, One of the things that I wanted to see that I didn't get to see was just a little bit more shadow organization. So it was a good cliffhanger to end on, right? But it was a cliffhanger, and you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being biased. But anyway, between my 4.5 and your two out of three, was it two
2.5 out of 3.
2.5 out of three? I think we have generally the same. This is definitely a pass, a high recommendation here at Novel Spirits, and I know that in my YouTube video introducing the podcast, I mentioned, what better way to start or to relaunch this podcast with a title like this, and I stand by it. What better way to start? Because that was a great read. So,
Yeah, great read and great title. Something is killing the children. I feel like
oh my
really
god.
is
Yeah.
a
But
eye
before,
catcher.
yeah, before we get canceled on episode one, let me just say that this book does come with its own trigger warnings. This is a really graphic novel, like it's a
Yeah,
really bloody book. But if you like that type of stuff, take our recommendation. Look it up. Again, something is killing the children. By James Tynion the fourth. Yes, we're still terrible with names. We always will be terrible with names. But
yeah,
do pick it up and add it to your collection.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah. Well, Jacob, congratulations on your completion of episode one.
Thank you. I
Welcome
was
to the
nervous.
family. Yeah.
I don't know if it's just getting through this or if it's all of the alcohol,
Oh,
but I feel more.
it's definitely the liquid bravery,
Yeah,
the liquid courage.
I think so.
Um, Now I do want to catch you off guard a minute because I know that if I take this off the menu, Higgins is going to have my ass. In the Comixology Club, we had a series or a segment. God, bullet. A segment called Readings for Squares, where after we did a review, we kind of cool down this mental workout that we're going through and talk about anything else that isn't reading.
Okay.
So, yeah, what have you been up to? What have you been consuming?
What have I been consuming? Well, I'm glad that this is a thing because just today, I was procrastinating like I do, and I was watching the Daredevil series, Daredevil Born Again. The last episodes came out. I guess I won't spoil it, but man, I loved the Netflix series that they put out, and um, they did not disappoint with the new stuff. I was so worried about Disney taking over and doing the darker story because Daredevil is a darker character, and Disney doesn't do well with dark characters. But yeah, they did not let down. I love the story. I love where it went. It was 9 episodes long, and I wanted like 30 because they brought back. I can't say it, but
So,
they brought back interesting characters. It was awesome, and yeah, it was like you know I've been wanting to talk about it to somebody, so I'm glad that you mentioned it.
well, yeah, I was gonna say before you cut yourself off. So good self control there after so many drinks. But yeah, we do spoilers on this podcast, but we don't do spoilers for not reading material. So it's good that you caught yourself there. Um, yeah, man, I, I'm I hate to say this because it doesn't feel like that long ago. But I really don't watch a lot of TV anymore. Between the studio, the writing, the development, like all my stuff is on a PC. But lucky for me, and I guess next time when we actually record video, you'll be able to see my TV next to my computer setup. Lucky for me, my Xbox is right next to me, and I have returned to my cycle of Skyrim because like
Nice.
the never ending or the never dying game Skyrim. You have this hunch or this craving where once in a then you go off and do your thing and then you return to it and then you have to start because you don't remember where you left off type deal.
Yeah.
But
You know,
I
I
modded. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say somehow that game is both the best game ever created and also kind of shitty. Like the game is awesome, but there is so much bugs and so much shit that goes wrong that it almost makes it better.
Well, you know what? I'm so glad you said that because this is the reason I didn't want to bring it up because it is, if I'm not mistaken, it is almost. It should be in its 20s. It should be 20 or something years old, right? So it is a relic game at this point.
Yeah.
And I feel old playing, but it's so fucking good. And like even the new game that came out, I have it. I don't even remember the name anymore. The sci-fi one.
2011 came out in 2011.
Jesus Christ, it's not even 20 years old
I
yet.
I think I don't. I think I might have been in elementary school when that game came out.
Yeah. So I mean, even the new game came out, Starfield, I think it is. Like, it just did not gain as much traction as Skyrim. Fallout 4 that I'm constantly cycling through, but Skyrim is bread and butter. So that's what I've been
Yeah.
consuming. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfected it.
Well, you know what did perfect the modding community. So thank you, modders, because everything that you've done have made this game like it has kept it alive for all this time. I said it was 20 years
Yeah.
old, but it's going there. It's going to be 20 years old pretty soon. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's pretty much it. And Higgins, if you're listening, I promise that next time, I know that you're going to be in and out. We'll get a recording of you singing your song, and we'll put this on. That is a segment that I will keep on Novel Spirits for sure. So
Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully we didn't let them down. I think they did a great job with being the predecessor to this podcast, and hopefully we continue in their I don't know
well,
their spirit
we
or whatever. Like,
yeah, we will definitely get to hear it because, like I said, they'll be floating around, and I think, if not mistaken, both of them are going to be showing up. If not both, at least one. But both of them should be showing up for our next episode, where we'll be covering a cyber. Jesus, Bullet Bourbon. Thank you so much for slurring my words. We will be covering Cyberpunk, one of the manga specifically, the trauma team, the medical team. So I will be posting in the about description block. Jesus, bullet. Ah, okay. I will be posting in the description below our link to the book here and our link to the upcoming book. And hopefully we get them on board and they'll tell us exactly how we're doing. It's okay. We'll edit that cough that you muted out, Jacob. It's fine. Yeah.
I thought I'd make it easy on them.
Right. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us on our very first episode of Novel Spirits. We tried to keep it as original and as true to the flavor of the Comixology Club with a few minor changes. Join us next time for episode 2. And yeah, you guys have a good one. Cheers.
Cheers.